fight in the nigger fight team, I do have a little bit of a background in the European traveling circus.
Is that right?
Hence, I have big ideas when it comes to presentation. I need something more than just a big nigger. Yeah, he needs to have panache.
Need to have what? Panache.
A sense of showmanship.
Showmanship, yes.
I want to be able to bill him as the Black Hercules.
Like Hercules, isn't that clever?
More like nigger leaves.
Greek religion, a sky and weather god, and the inspiration behind the Roman god Jupiter. He was worshipped as the creator of thunder, lightning, rain, and winds, and his traditional weapon was the thunderbolt. He was known as the father of gods and men. However, most people ignore that the majority of ancient Greeks' knowledge came from Africans. Most Greek gods were actually Hellenized versions of Kemet's African deities. All Greek historians, including Homer, Diodorus, and Herodotus, acknowledge that black Africans were the first to worship the gods, and that the Greeks simply learned from them. The Greeks assumed the Egyptian gods were the true gods, so all they did was copy what the Africans created and adapted it to their customs. Traces of that African origin can still be found in their writings. In the Iliad and Odyssey, Homer wrote that every year, Greek gods went to feast with the Ethiopians or black Africans. Furthermore, Zeus's chief title was Ethios, which means black. So, yes, according to the ancient Greeks, Zeus, their main god, was black. Like and subscribe for more.
Even the circumstances of his birth are legendary. Memnon would have been born in around 1200 or 1300 BC, somewhere around that time. Even the circumstances of his birth are legendary. Memnon's father was a prince of Troy named Tithonus. One day, the goddess of the dawn, Eos, snatched Tithonus away, and he was taken to the in single combat. Memnon had heard of the great warrior Achilles and agreed to the fight. The two heroes were evenly matched, both favored by the gods, and were also rumored to be demigods. The Olympians agreed to help neither of them and would watch the fight with their full attention, as a fight of such skill and speed would never be seen on earth again. The battle drew to a halt, and men gathered around the two champions to see them clash in what would be the greatest duel in antiquity. It is said that Zeus projected the two men into giants, so that all the men on the battlefield and the Olympians in the sky had a full view of this epic battle. The two demigods then clashed, and their speed and skill would leave both gods and men in awe, as their movements seemed to be impossible to recreate. Memnon and Achilles would fight for a long time.
I want to start off by giving our praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Ruach HaKodesh, the mamas to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught me this truth. Alright, now, just want to start off by pretty much showing these, this is like artwork or whatever from ancient Greece, and as you can see, you see a lot of dark colored figures. Alright, one of them is Memnon, the African warrior, whatever. But the one at the very top is Memnon fighting Achilles, and you see both of them are dark color. And you know, they try to come up with our kind of reasons of why ancient Greeks had so much dark colored artwork. Alright, and the real reason is because the ancient Greeks were originally also dark-colored people. They weren't Israelites or Shem or Hamites, but they were dark-colored. They were Japhets. Because our Noah's sons originally started out as what they were being so-called black. Now we know black isn't a thing because there's no such thing as black people, but our Noah's sons were dark-colored people. Alright. Now I'm gonna start with the first verse, Genesis, the 9th chapter, and I'm gonna read verses 18 and 19. And the sons of Noah that went forth from the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. And Ham is the father of Canaan. These are the three sons of Noah, and of them was the whole earth overspread. So the whole earth was repopulated through these three sons of Noah, which were all dark-colored, dark-fleshed people. Alright, now we know Ham, he was the progenitor of all his so-called African nations. And we know that the nations of Shem, except for the Negroes, which Negroes are a nation of Shem, the Israelites were all lighting up a lot through intermingling and mixing with Esau on down the road. And the same thing happened to Japheth. Right? Ham is the only one who didn't intermix with Esau enough to change their skin tone. Right? Now we get Genesis, skip over to Genesis, the 27th chapter, and 27th chapter in the 38th verse. And Esau said unto his father, Hast thou but one blessing, my father? Bless me, even me also, O my father. And Esau lifted up his voice and wept. And Isaac his father answered and said unto him, Behold, thy dwellings should be the fatness of the earth, and the dew of heaven from above. And by thy sword should thou live, and should serve thy brother. And it should come to pass when thou shalt have the dominion, that thou shalt break his yoke from off thy neck. So if Isaac, who we know through the Spirit was Yahushua, told Esau, who we know today as the so-called white man, that he was going to have dominion. That means rulership, control over the entire earth. Alright? And that is what we are living in right now. His dominion, his rulership, his control over this current so-called earth. Right? So, right, so it was given to him. And we know that it said in Job 9 and 24, the earth is given unto the hands of the wicked. He covered the faces of the judges thereof. If not, where and who is he? Alright, so this earth is under rulership and control of the hands of the wicked. Alright, and if we go over to Micah 2, and I'm going to read the first two verses. Woe to them that devise iniquity, whom work evil upon their beds, whom the morning is light. They practice it because it is in the power of their hands. Alright, and this is a key verse, second verse. And they cover fields and take them by violence. So this was saying, it was going to be people that were going to cover fields and take everything they got by violence in houses. And they take them away so that they oppress a man in his house, even a man in his heritage. So this was letting you know that they was going to take over other people's houses, other people's heritages. All right. And that was the reason I got so many clips on this. I wanted the people to see that the ancient Japa culture was what they would consider black culture. And Esau took that over. Alright, so now we go over to First Maccabees, the first chapter. Alright. Alright. And it happened after that Alexander, son of Philip, the Macedonian, who came out of the land of Chisholm in smiting Darius, king of the Persians, in the Medes, that he reigned in his stead the first over Greece. So Alexander was when the Edomites first took over Greece. And I always say it's amazing that you don't study about Alexander that much in school. But the reason for that is they don't want people looking too deep into Alexander to know that he was the first Edomite to reign over everything. Because when you study Alexander, you be in shock because sad as it was, our people, what they would call black people, dark colored people, actually worship this Edomite, this so-called white man as a god. And this actually happened in history. And yet it is not taught. Why isn't it taught? Because they don't want people to know why Alexander was so significant, that he was the first that took over Greece, and that most Greek culture was all Japhetic culture, was all a culture of a dark-skinned race of people. All right, and it says, second verse, it made many wars and won many strongholds and slowed the kings of the earth. So Alexander slowed all the kings of the earth, and he went through to the ends of the earth and took spoils of many nations, insomuch so that the earth was cried before him. Wherever he was exalted, and his heart was lifted up. And he gathered a mighty strong hold and ruled over countries and nations and kings who became tribute unto him. Alright, so Alexander conquered the whole known world at the time. And that is when the Edomites took over most of the world's other culture. Alright, and we go back over to Genesis, the 9th chapter, the way things was supposed to be before Israel went off, Genesis, the 9th chapter. And this is what Noah said, it's the 25th verse. Right? And he said, "Cursed be Canaan, a servant of servants should he be unto his brothers." So Canaan was going to be a servant of servants, so he was going to be the low of the low. See, all nations were going to be enslaved to Israel, but Canaan was even going to be enslaved to the nations that were enslaved to Israel. A servant of servants should he be. And he said also, "Blessed be the Lord God of Shem, and Canaan should be his servant. God should enlarge Japheth, and he should dwell in the tents of Shem, and Canaan should be his servant." So Japheth is supposed to be dwelling in the tents of Shem, right? So we know we are not there right now, not under this current rulership. All right, and we go over to Second Thessalonians, I believe. Let's see. I see Second Thessalonians, the 2nd chapter, and I want verses 8 and 9. "And then should the wicked be revealed, whom the Lord should consume with the spirit of his mouth, and should destroy with the brightness of his coming. Even him whose coming is after the workings of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders." So I'm saying it was going to be a people on his earth whose coming is after the working of Satan. All right. And we know through the Spirit who these people are now. Alright? And 2 Corinthians, the 4th chapter, 4th verse. "In whom the God of this world has blinded the minds of them which believe it not, lest the light of the glorious gospel of a Mashiach, whose image is of Yahweh, should shine unto them." So anyone who doesn't understand this is because the God has blinded their mind. Alright? Because it's pretty obvious that we got to know that Esau has to be the so-called white man, or else we couldn't be the Israelites. Alright? Because it said the Israelites were going to be in servitude to Esau in the last days. And it also says, and let me get this. Second Ezra, the 6th chapter, 7th verse. Then answered I and said, what should be the pardon of sunders of the times, and when should be the end of the first and the beginning of it that follows? And he said unto me, from Abraham unto Isaac, from Jacob and Esau was born of him. Jacob held first the hill of Esau. For Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that follows. Alright, so this is letting you know that the birth of Jacob and Esau was symbolic, that in the end times that Jacob was going to pull Esau down out of rulership, right? That's what it means, that Esau is the end of the world. It's the last heathen rulership on this planet. And after that, Jacob is going to take over. And we living in the times where we're about to go through that transition, where Jacob was about to reach up and pull Esau down out of rulership by their heel. Alright, and that's why everything is getting stirred up. That's why so much controversy in the media and stuff going on right now. But that is the key element that most people are missing. That Esau took over all these Japhetic cultures and started calling themselves by their name. Like it said in Micah, oppressing the man in their heritage, alright, in their own lands, alright. And with that, I'm gonna say Shalom.
Negroes were first worshipped in Greece and Rome. White masses bowed down to black deities. The rites of Apollo were founded by Delphos and his Negro mother Melinus, and the worship of black Isis and Horus were popular in Rome and the Roman colonies as far north as Britain. It was actually, in ancient Rome, it was actually common for the Romans to make fun of their own gods, but to worship and respect Horus and Isis, which, by the way, Madonna and Jesus. But we'll get to that, because the worship of black Isis and Horus existed as far north as Britain, but eventually this evolved into the worship of the black Madonna and the black Christ. Christian whites also bowed down to them. Negroes, as was said, were deified in early Greece. They appeared as gods in Greek mythology. The chief title of Zeus, the greatest of the Greek gods, was Ethiopes, which means black. The earliest of gods and messiahs on all continents were black. We have found the black complexion or something relating to it whenever we have approached the origin of nations. The alma mater, the goddess, the founder of the oracles, the Memnon, or the first idols, always black. The pyramids, by the way, the faces on the pyramids, they chipped the nose